Hello, Globetrotters. Welcome to Fact or Fiction, your go-to spot for unraveling the mysteries of global economics with a twist of fun. Today, we're dissecting the petrodollar system to see if it truly keeps the US dollar soaring in the international arena. Ready? Let's dive in. Let's begin by examining the foundation, the Petrodollar Agreement, which encompasses two distinct agreements, the Economic Cooperation Agreement and the Debt Secret Agreement. The principal assertions of the Economic Cooperation Agreement are: the US aims to strengthen political relations between the two nations through economic collaboration. The US supports the industrialization and development of Saudi Arabia by recycling petrodollars. The main points in the Debt Secret Agreement include: Saudi Arabia agrees to price its oil exports in dollars as part of a broader economic and security pact that involves the US purchasing oil from Saudi Arabia. In return for US military protection, Saudi Arabia commits to investing its oil revenues in US Treasury bonds. Our story begins with a claim from the Gateway Pundit that the Petrodollar Agreement is the cornerstone of the US dollar's global supremacy. But how solid is this foundation? We've lined up 5 premises to put to the test. Kicking off with premise 1, Saudi Arabia prices its oil exports exclusively in US dollars. Why does this matter? Well, it's like Saudi Arabia throwing an exclusive party and only accepting invites printed in dollars. It creates a huge demand for USD because, let's face it, everyone needs oil. Moving to premise 2, the Petrodollar Agreement between US and Saudi Arabia was supposed to dictate this dollar-only pricing. Turns out, this is more legend than law. The formal agreements don't make it a rule, but rather, it's an evolved practice. It's like a game of telephone where the final message isn't quite what was originally said. Premise 3 says, Saudi Arabia invests its oil money in US Treasury bonds in exchange for military protection from the US. It's a win-win. Saudi gets security, and the US gets a reliable buyer for its debts. Think of it as a friendship bracelet, symbolizing a promise between friends. Up next, premise 4 claims the petrodollar boosts the dollar's role as the world's reserve currency. It's like the dollar is the star of the currency catwalk thanks to these oil deals that keep it in the spotlight and in high demand across the globe. And finally, premise 5 suggests the system supports a strong dollar, keeps inflation low, and ensures a bustling bond market in the US. This is the economic equivalent of having a powerhouse lineup at a concert. Everything works together to keep the show amazing. While these premises paint a picture of strategic genius, not all are cut and dry. For instance, premise 2's actual legal basis isn't as solid as believed, showing us that sometimes economic lore can overtake the actual facts. And that wraps up our exploration into the petrodollar. It's not just an economic agreement, it's a saga of strategy, security, and the almighty dollar. What's your take? Economic masterstroke or a fragile house of cards? Comment below. There's more to this story. Let's dive into the depths of logic and additional factors affecting our global currency. So far, we discussed some interesting premises about the petrodollar. Let's break down some logical missteps and add a few more layers to our economic plot. We encountered the fallacy of composition, assuming that what's good for the US is good for elevating global status of the US dollar. It's like saying, if pepperoni pizza is the best here, it must be the best everywhere. Not quite, right? And then there's the non sequitur fallacy. Claiming the petrodollar alone elevates the US dollar globally is like saying owning a basketball makes you an NBA player. It helps, but there's much more to the game. Let's broaden our perspective with some new heavyweight premises that really shape the dollar's global stance. Premise 6, historical stability and economic size. The US economy isn't just big, it's colossal. and it's been stable over many tumultuous decades. This makes the dollar a safe haven in stormy economic weathers. It's like trusting the biggest ship in the fleet to weather the storm. Premise 7. Central banks' dollar reserves. Around the world, central banks cling to the dollar like a security blanket. Why? Because it's seen as stable and reliable, making it the top pick for reserves. Imagine everyone choosing the same reliable car model. It stays in demand. Premise 8. Historical geopolitical decisions. Historical choices, like those made during the Bretton Woods Conference, have anchored the dollar's role globally. It's not just any currency, it's the currency chosen to lead in the post-war world, much like a lead actor selected for a blockbuster movie. Premise 9. Global economic dynamics. The global economic landscape is always shifting, but the dollar remains a key player. Think of it as being the main character in every economic drama. It reacts and adapts, but always stays central to the plot. With these additions, our understanding of why the US dollar holds its ground globally becomes richer and more complex. It's not just about oil, it's about stability, trust, and historical depth. Alright, after diving deep into the petrodollar seas and exploring economic continents, let's map out what we've discovered and sum up our grand adventure. We started with the petrodollar system, uncovering its intricate ties to the US dollar's supremacy. We navigated through common misconceptions and logical fallacies, learning that while the petrodollar has its role, it's not the solo player in this economic drama. Then, we expanded our view, adding layers with the historical stability of the US economy, the strategic hoarding of dollars by global central banks, pivotal geopolitical decisions, and the ever-changing global economic landscape. Each factor adds a unique brushstroke to the portrait of the dollar's dominance. What's fascinating is how these diverse elements intertwine to sustain the US dollar's role as the world's leading currency. It's like understanding a complex ecosystem in nature. No single animal or plant stands alone. Each is crucial to the whole. Our journey reveals that the petrodollar, while significant, is just one part of a larger narrative. It initially nudged the dollar towards global dominance, much like setting a stone rolling down a hill. But as it rolled, it gathered strength from other economic forces, morphing into the financial juggernaut we see today. In summary, our analysis reveals that 88% of the varied premises examined support the truthfulness of our study. However, not all premises support the hypothesis that the Petrodollar Agreement is central to the global dominance of the US dollar. Specifically, premises 1, 3, 4, and 5 support the truth, while premises 6, 7, 8, and 9 contradict it, and premise 2 is deemed fictional. Given an equal number of supporting and refuting premises, we conclude that the hypothesis holds no truthfulness. Thanks for joining me on this enlightening expedition. What part of today's episode surprised you the most? Drop a comment below and let's keep the conversation going. If you're craving more economic explorations, hit that subscribe button, like this video, and stay tuned for more.